It's time for EdTech Mondays, brought to you by MasterCard Foundation and CC Hub.
Hello everyone and welcome to another amazing episode of the EdTech Mondays Nigeria show. My name is Chinyelu Akpa, your host on the show, and it's good to be here again. Last week we continued our conversation on digital wellness and resilience for learners and educators. And based on popular demand, we'll be continuing our conversation, and we brought back our friendly PM, Bridget Iyere, to continue with where she stopped and educate us more on what to know when using EdTech products. Also, to spice up the conversation, we have a special guest. Our special guest is an award-winning educator with over 18 years of experience in both the private and public sectors. She's a passionate teacher committed to fostering critical thinking and innovation amongst her students. She has received numerous awards, including the Prestige Nigeria Teachers Award of Excellence and Eminent Teacher of Repute, just to mention a few. So join me as we welcome today to join our friendly PM, Bridget Iyere, Atilade Oluwafumilola Keziah. Hello, Atilade.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm fine.
Thank you for joining our friendly PM.
Yes, it's good to be here.
House guest.
Thank you for having us too.
Great. So we are going to be continuing this interesting conversation. There's so much talk that goes on about, EdTech. We're trying to get so many people on board, and nobody's really thinking about digital wellness and resilience on the part of the learners and the part of the educators. And that's what the focus has been this past weeks, where we're trying to understand what it even means. How can you protect yourself? What are the safeguarding measures that are available? And how can learners be supported? And what can educators do to support learners and also protect themselves? So this week, we'll start with you. With all the experience you've had, how has your experience been, using digital tools for teaching and learning?
Thank you very much. It has been exciting. It has been fantastic. When you integrate digital tools into teaching and learning, it arouses the interest of the learners. It makes them, excited to learn. So it has been really fantastic.
And speaking, now directly to digital wellness, how does this affect you as a teacher? Because it's a very important question where teachers are oftentimes scared to use digital tools because they feel this is extra work for me. I have the burden of, imagine people who work in public schools who have 50, 60, 70 students in a classroom, and you're bringing a tool.
I have up to 120 in my class.
Wonderful.
Wow. Yes.
That's a lot.
So where does that balance come in? Because I think that's a lot of work trying to even figure out, the device, trying to figure out the product, trying to figure out how to use it to learn as for the students. So where's the balance and having to take care of 120 students?
Thank you. You see, that is where digital wellness actually sets in. As an educator, you must be able to balance it. When you spend too much time on the screen, it has its own advantage, it has its own disadvantage. You must also consider your mental health, your physical health, your emotional states. There's something in physics we call equilibrium. You should be able to balance both. Are you with me?
Yes.
So as a teacher, as an educator, you set your expectations first. In a large class, you cannot just, set the tools and allow the students to start using it without...
It's going to be a marketplace.
Thank you very much. So there are strategies you need to put in place. We have strategies that we normally use in the classroom to ensure effective and efficient teaching and learning process. We have a think, pair, share. we have the group method, we have scaffolding method. So these are strategies that we normally use to ensure that the students actually learn. For the group method, we can group them into 10, can group it, you can use the think peer method, pick a partner, discuss, and at the end of the day, you come out and share with the class. So that's how we roll it in the classroom. So you set your tools. Like I said, you have to set expectation. The children must know when to use the technological tools, how to use it, and where to use it. So when you set your tools, tell them when to start, move around the class, monitor what they are doing, because majority, they are very smart. Very smart.
Yeah.
Majority of them, they will come with their own gadgets too, switch on their hotspots, connect to, and before you know it,
Something else is
you are not on
happening.
the same level. They are not learning. So you have to move around, see what they are doing, monitor their activities, and ensure they are learning and their well-being is also put into
Being
consideration, is being managed. So you set your expectations, move around the class, see what they are doing, then let them know the importance of withdrawing from the screen. There are other activities you can engage them with, like the STEM. I'm a science teacher. We have hands-on activities, practical works, apart from the videos we watch. There's something we call virtual lab, when you are
Yeah.
teaching a topic and the facilities are not available, you can take them through the virtual digital lab. So when they finish watching and you've engaged them on some of the platforms, we have the Kahoots. I use the Kahoots platform to arouse their interest. Okay, so when they are done with that, you can also put them offline.
Okay.
Let them withdraw from the screen. Give them, group them, give them hands-on activities.
Yes. Okay.
So that will enable you to balance the equation.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
So now to you, Bridget. And I'm asking this because this, just falls in nicely with the conversation we had last week when I was asking what are some of the things, the ways you design your product to ensure that you're helping learners withdraw. And since she started from there, she ended with that. I just, continue there. And one thing you said last week that's really established for me was levels, how you've introduced levels. So is there anything you want to add to what she has said, how we are helping students learn how to, go off the screen time, other measures that can be put in the design process for EdTech tools to ensure that there is wellness and resilience. And I also like the bit, around how they work in groups and I know that in eLimu you have the student bit of it, portal where students are interacting as students.
Yeah.
Then you have the back where the teachers are interacting as teachers. So perhaps you want to talk about that. So people here, how it's good to design from both angles and how much control these teachers would have around wellness and how much time the students are spending with these devices.
Yeah, thank you, Chielu. So as she was just speaking, right, a lot of things were falling in place in terms of how we have designed eLimu World. So like she mentioned, we're not trying to replace the role of a classroom or a teacher. So what we basically do is we build this product such a way that's more of supplementary learning in terms of what they are being taught in the classroom. So she made mention of digital lab, and something that we have in digital lab is we have a digital lab, a product called Energy Lab. So basically teaching kids first law of thermodynamics. And what we do there is we also add a bit of exercise, right? Which is more of, what they are being taught in the classroom and is broken in different bits, like I mentioned the last time I was here. So they have different questions based on what they have been taught. And at the end of the day, we now end that bit with something called reward application. And this is a way of us taking the kids outside from the product. So things are being taught in terms of, let's say how energy is being gotten or how energy is being stored or converted. They cannot see in terms of reward application, how they can apply it. This is us also assisting our teachers to say, if they're going outside the product, from learning about these different energy movement and all of that. This is how they can relate with it in their own outside environment. So this is one measure which will help kids to ensure that it's balanced, like she mentioned.
Thank you very much. And it's very, I think this is something that EdTech product designers, developers should incorporate. There should be a strategic, design principle in your products,
Yeah.
or you putting that design principle where you're helping the students subconsciously disconnect.
Yeah.
Where there's an activity that makes them drop the device and go speak to mom. So imagine if you're designing a tool that's helping them learn maybe spelling, and you tell them go speak to a friend, go talk to someone else. You have to drop the tab, you have to drop the device to go speak to someone else. So in that time, you're ensuring that you're not on the screen. You're resting your eyes, you're resting your mind and your brain, and you have time to even recollect from all that you have learned. Thank you very much. Now back to you, Ms. Atilade. Do you believe that traditional methods of teaching need to be updated in today's digital world? And this is very important because you mentioned, various techniques, pair share,
Think, peer,
pair share, right? Scaffolding.
Scaffolding.
And these are some of the things that you learned while in school, right? Your
Exactly.
teaching methodologies and the rest. So, is there a need for us to revise, some of the ways we teach teachers in colleges of education and universities, so that it goes side by side with technology, so they know where whatever they are learning, scaffolding, for instance, how you can scaffold with technology? Because if it doesn't want scaffolding, if they're thinking scaffolding of a building.
Yes, it's actually related to that.
So, what do you think? Is there a need for us to revise the way?
Yes, there is
teachers
a
are being
need.
taught?
There is a need. Actually, traditional way of learning cannot, I don't think it's becoming outdated.
It can be outdated.
So we are building on it.
Yes.
It's advancing on daily basis. And as an educator, you just have to move with the trend. You don't have any choice. If not, you'll just be left behind. We're in the jet age. Unlike before, that we used to use chalk.
An abacus.
Things are changing.
Smartwatch,
So
everywhere.
it's actually evolving. It's changing on daily basis, and you just have to move with it. So they need to update the curriculum, both at the tertiary level, just as you have said.
Yes.
So by the time they update, they integrate technology into their scheme. Okay, we have scheme of work in the secondary, we have syllabus, we have, we have them in grades like that. So I think they should update.
So where do EdTech organizations come in this case, with opening up their establishments, their businesses to get more teachers in, to understand what's happening?
That should be through professional development.
Okay.
You need to train teachers on how to use some of these tools. Majority of them are, let me say, adamant. They are not ready to explore. They are not ready to advance. They just want, just as you have said, they have a lot going, There's so much. Yes. So it's just as if you are disturbing them. Why will you tell me to go for training when I have 120 students to cater for? I need to mark their notes. I need to give assignment. Like we are in the 21st century now. I don't need to give assignment to my students. They are on Google Classroom. So I get my feedback. I give them assignments on Google. We do virtual meetings on Google Meet. You understand?
These are in public schools?
Yes.
Wow. In Nigeria?
Yes, in Lagos State.
Wow.
So Lagos is actually working.
Okay.
So, I just don't stress myself on this. I have a stamp that I normally use to check their notes. Yes,
Like I would like to know.
What does it stand for?
it's a ready-made template that you can easily use on their notes to show that you have checked, you have corrected their errors. Yes. So I don't need to stress myself using red pen to correct. So you understand. So things have really changed for good.
And all of this is still building on what you learned.
Exactly. So you can organize training for the teachers. And how do you do that? Go to schools, meet with the administrators. You can create a communication channel for them, administrators, teachers, and the EdTech
Organizations
companies.
themselves. Yes, this is very important. Very, very important. And there's also a bit I want us to talk about, and Bridget, I'm coming to you, where there is this ongoing debate that says that digital tools make students be passive learners instead of active learners, where you could be on the screen and they're just there. They're just zoned out. Nothing is happening. And I brought this in because it takes a skilled teacher to know that is happening, even in the classroom when there is no digital tool. That a child can be in your class and you're just nodding their heads, but they are gone. Then you then introduce a device and imagine it's a digital lab and energy conversion, and the child is just there. He's just looking at the screen. But because there's so much happening around them, they would rather, withdraw and allow everybody do everything, anybody but them. So now to you, Bridget. How can we help students, become active learners? How are you designing products to ensure that students are not turning into passive learners instead of active learners? And this is very important because you know that not all schools will have one device per child. So you have instances where they have to share, where they have to work in groups, as she mentioned.
Thank you for that question. So how do we ensure that our kids are active learner, if I get it correctly? This is something what we always think about constantly, because building for kids, especially young learners, you need to always think about how do you ensure that they are constantly engaged and they're actually interacting with your product. And this brings us to us thinking about constantly how do we make our product very interactive and engaging. And something that we've employed into some of our games is we add some bit of animations and voiceover prompts. So we do it such a way that if we notice like a level of inactivity from these kids, these instructions are asked again. And in situation, let's say it's possible maybe the child might be struggling, which might be sometimes the case, is we have like feedback mechanism. So things like you are doing a good job, you just need to drag this object, constantly checking to ensure that this child is playing this game. Because if we want to leave them to say, okay, they are doing what they're supposed to do, like you said, they will go off. And we also add some gamification elements. So things like timer, where they can see that, okay, you're being timed. Of course, you're trying to race to finish a particular activity. Kids love these elements. It drives them to want to continue playing this game. Then to answer the question for situation, let's say they are group learners, we have so many activities, and a particular question or multiple questions might be aimed at a particular topic. So a child, based on the teacher, we have something that we call teacher's guide, that based on what they are teaching their kids in the classroom, based on how many kids to devices, they can work with it in such a way. Let's say a child gets to answer a particular question, then the next child gets to answer. So you see a form of like group work and collaboration happening in app. So these are some methods that we've employed to ensure that it's engaging and interactive for these kids.
Thank you. So you see, it's collab, and I'm sure that you work with teachers to design your teachers' guides. So it's a collaborative process. So to you, our listeners, it's not enough that you're just using EdTech products. You need to use EdTech products that are well vetted and are backed by learning science and have been tested by teachers and even learners, and can help your students, help your learners, help your children achieve their learning outcomes. And where else will you get all the information if not the EdTech Mondays Nigeria show? This is why you should listen Call your friends, call your peers to join you, listen, and also join our offline community on WhatsApp or Telegram, EdTech Mondays Nigeria, to know more about EdTech in Nigeria and how you can join the train and join in all the fun that is happening there. So to you, Mrs. Asilade, what are your parting shots? What do you see as the future of EdTech in Nigeria? From your own point of view, of course, as a teacher.
Okay, like I said earlier on, said the train is moving. It's not even train now. We now have jets. Yeah, the jet is flying. And if you are not moving with it, you might be left behind.
You will be left behind.
Yeah. So you just have to start small as an educator. Any device you can lay your hands upon, practice. Collaborate with tech-savvy educators. Let them put you through. Go for trainings. Don't just sit down and be looking that miracle will happen. Miracle will not happen. You have to
apply yourself.
Apply. So you have to go for trainings. For example, Lagos State, we have what we call TESCOM, that's Teaching Service Commission. They organize training for teachers in different levels. So go for your...
So teachers across Nigeria should look for what's happening in their states.
Yes.
Look for what's happening in your education districts. And even beyond what the government is providing. What private sector organizations also are providing.
Exactly,
and plug yourself
exactly. So you just have to update yourself.
Thank you. And to you, Bridget, what's the future of EdTech in Nigeria?
Future of EdTech in Nigeria, apart from the AI one, I made mention of gamification. So I'm seeing a lot of companies making use of gamification elements to ensure that learning is engaging, is fun, and interactive for our learners.
Thank you so much. It was amazing having our friendly PM and now let's give you a jazzy name. Our award-winning educator with us on the show.
Thank you.
To round up the conversations we've had, very interesting conversation that we've had this month. And to you, our listeners, you want to send us a WhatsApp message or an SMS, 0703 165 0809. We would love to hear from you. Are you a teacher looking for ways to improve your skill, looking for ways to leverage technology to improve learning outcomes in your classrooms? The EdTech Mondays Nigeria community is the best place for you. Join that community and you see like-minded teachers like you who are willing to support you to use technology and even recommend tools for you to use regardless of the type of school you teach in Nigeria. And are you a parent or just an enthusiast who wants to know more about EdTech in Nigeria? The EdTech Mondays Nigeria community is a place for you. Join us on Telegram or WhatsApp at EdTech Mondays Nigeria. And if you missed the show for any reason or you know someone who missed the show, you can catch us at CC Hub Nigeria on YouTube or look for us on Spotify, EdTech Mondays Nigeria. Share with your friends and your loved ones. We had a wonderful time this month discussing digital wellness and resilience for learners and educators. Till I come your way, same time next week, I remain your host, Chinyelu Apa. It's bye for now.
EdTech Monday is proudly brought to you by MasterCard Foundation and CC Hub.